Bad things will happen to you in life. Nothing good will happen unless you force it to happen, or someone who cares about you forces it to happen on your behalf. If you want anything good to happen, you must take action. Inaction may seem like an option, just maintain the status quo, but it has extremely negative consequences. Not only will nothing good happen, you will miss out on something far more important, the experience of success and failure. Experience helps you make good choices, gives you confidence, and even makes you aware of more opportunities. All action involves risk, and inaction is even worse because it essentially guarantees failure both short and long term. So taking risks is necessary, but how do we judge them? We need to evaluate the likelihood of different outcomes, as well as their consequences. We tend to perceive risks as random, like rolling dice, but the reality is that for most challenges, our own agency is a much larger factor. By applying more skill or discipline, or expending financial or social capital, you can take control of risks. In general, luck is a very small factor. We say hindsight is 20/20 not because we know the results of a dice roll, but because we have perspective on what actually mattered. Similar to the odds, the positive or negative consequences of risk are generally things you can heavily influence. You can wear a helmet while riding a bike. You can take out insurance against failure in a business activity. You can prepare ahead to make multiple attempts at something, or take a single, larger risk if you are extremely confident in your skill and preparation. In general, outcomes infrequently wind up at the greatest or worst possible extreme. There's a large interaction between your agency and the severity of the risk and reward. With nothing on the line, it's far more likely that I'll win a coin flip than complete No Nut November, but if I put my life on the line, the latter becomes a lock. The overall point of all this is that in reality, true luck is generally a very small factor. Correct perception of risk is also important. For example, many people would consider it risky to interact with wild killer whales. Given a more accurate statistical and behavioral understanding of orcas, one can realize that swimming with them is actually one of the safest ocean behaviors you could possibly engage in. You also need to take your weaknesses into consideration. If you have a history of cracking under pressure or behaving poorly in a certain sort of situation, you need to take that into account. Not to avoid taking those risks, mind you, that's still just guaranteeing failure, but to choose the scale of the risks you take wisely. Give yourself the opportunity to improve in areas where you lack before life forces you into a situation where you are unlikely to succeed. Hopefully you've noticed the one factor in risk that I've yet to bring up: fear. Fear is not something you should consider when judging risks, aside from perhaps examining how much your fear may handicap your ability to succeed. The other day I walked into an unsignaled crosswalk as a small woman stood on the side of the road waiting. "You have to make them stop," I told her. "I'm afraid they won't see me," she replied as they followed me across. Now, it's true that I'm more visible than her, but how much does that really matter? She fears for her life, but how much of it will she waste waiting for the perfect moment to act? Fear is especially worthless when the thing you fear is shame. I'll probably do another video on shame at some point, but for now suffice it to say, do not let fear of shame stop you from doing things. Still worse is fear of failure. Failure is inevitable in life. If you avoid failing at small things, you guarantee failing at big things. Embrace failure, and fail often in ways that do not cause significant harm. This is the only way to build the skills and confidence you need to tackle the larger, more important problems in life. Skill at assessing, managing, and undertaking risks has benefits in every area of life. Having a sense of control over your life is important for mental health. Others' perception of your ability to act with confidence and be successful is important for your reputation, especially as a man. While passivity can be a passable facsimile of femininity, as a man you have to take action or people will not respect you. Confidence, self-control, and risk assessment and management are important skills for leadership. Even if you don't aspire to spend much time leading, there will be countless opportunities in life where the ability to lead will be valuable, and if you don't learn to take risks, you will never be a good leader. Successfully taking risks is personally gratifying, and the greater the odds against you, the more satisfying it is to succeed. It's an affirmation that you're doing things right, that there's something special about you. Perhaps the biggest benefit of being comfortable taking risks is being able to capitalize on opportunities. Opportunities come when they come, not at your convenience. You must be ready to take advantage of them and willing to act when the time comes. There's a comment on my last video that I think is an example of some of the thinking I want to address here as it relates to relationships. He says, "Of the 30% of marriages that survive, 2/3 continue in spite of being failed relationships. 90% failure rate is not acceptable. Such social conditions are terminally dysfunctional." Based on this and your other deleted comment, I assume that part of what you're saying here is that a 10% success rate means that pursuing marriage is foolish. Firstly, I want to be clear, I am not encouraging you to pursue a relationship with a woman. I am encouraging you to reconsider the way you think about relationships and risk. What matters is not the percentage of relationships that succeed and fail. What matters is why they succeed and fail. Actual estimates of divorce rates are around 50%. That doesn't mean your divorce rate is 50%. You are not giving yourself credit for your ability to choose the right woman, or for your ability to build and maintain a relationship with her. Even if your skill and discipline is lacking right now, you can build yourself up to be successful. The choice is not about rolling dice. It's about deciding if you want to undertake the effort to make a successful relationship happen. If you're not going to do what it takes to succeed, you're absolutely right that failure is almost inevitable and you shouldn't try. If you take a wise approach, failure is quite unlikely. Yes, there's always risk of failure no matter what you do. I know a man who used to tell me that I should hurry up and get married and have kids because to him it was the most fulfilling experience a man could have. Then something happened, and he's now a broken-minded child who lives off his mother and does everything he can to ruin the lives of his ex-wife and children. So that definitely happens, but it's quite unlikely if you act wisely. There are in fact a few specific advantages you have as a man. Because you're generally going to be the one to approach women, you have more control over how you filter who you pursue. You can make character concerns and suitability for a lifelong relationship your top priority and not waste time on the wrong women. You have extra agency as a man because you can lead. Most women want to follow. This means that not only can you improve yourself, but you have an increased opportunity to help your woman grow as a person and strengthen your relationship that way. Don't take the simplistic view of relationships as just a coin flip of doom. Don't take that view of anything. Whatever it is that you want, take control of your life and make yourself happy. There's no guarantee of success, but trying is a lot better than guaranteeing failure.